Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean with your host, Madhulika Rajahan. In our last episode, we talked about principles of service design thinking. Today, we're going to look inside Apple's product development process, inside the world's greatest design organization. Apple's product development process may be one of the most successful design processes ever implemented. With a valuation that exceeds 2 trillion, there is a lot that designers can learn from Apple and introduce it into their own design environments. Apple is a notoriously secretive business. In Steve Jobs' time at the company, it would have been nearly impossible to find out about the internal workings of the business. This isn't surprising when a business's market advantage is its design approach. It's worth keeping it under wraps. However, Adam Lashinsky, the author of Inside Apple, How America's Most Admired and Secretive Companies Really Work, has been given a look at the process. Well, there are still aspects of the way that Apple works that are shrouded in secrecy. You can still get a good idea of the overall high level process through this book. First thing is that design is at the forefront. So, how do you go about giving designers the freedom to design and ensure that the product they produce fulfills their vision? Well, at Apple, they put design at the forefront. John Ivey, the British designer who was the chief design officer at Apple, and his design team do not report to finance, manufacturing, or any other department. They are given a free rein to set their own budgets and given the ability to ignore manufacturing practicalities. At the heart of the design development is the industrial design studio, where only a few Apple employees have access. It's a simple concept that allows for the creation of incredible products. Secondly, design teams are separated from the larger company. When a design team on a new product, they are then cut off from the rest of the Apple business. They may even implement physical controls to prevent the team from interacting with each other during the day. The team is also removed from the traditional Apple hierarchy at this point. They create their own reporting structures and report directly to the executive team. This leaves them free to focus on design rather than a day to day minute details. A documented development process, which is very important. The Apple New Product Process or ANAP information is given to a product development team when they begin work. It details every stage of the design process and it goes into an elaborate detail. The idea is to define what stages the product creation team will go through, who will be responsible for delivering the final product, who works on which stage, and where they work, and also when the product is expected to be completed. Monday is ideally the review day. The Apple executive team holds a regular Monday meeting to examine every single product that the company has in design phase at that point in time. This isn't as daunting as it may sound. One of the key of Apple's success is that they don't work on hundreds of new products at once. Instead, resources are concentrated on a handful of projects that are expected to bear fruits rather than being diluted over many lesser projects. If a product cannot be reviewed at one meeting, it is automatically at the top of the agenda for the next meeting. In practice, this would mean that every single Apple product is inspected by the executive team at least once a fortnight. This keeps delays in decision making to a minimum and enables the company to be very lean with its approach to design. The EPMs and the GSMs. The EPM is the Engineering Program Manager and the GSM is the Global Supply Manager. Together, they are known within Apple as the EPM Mafia. It's their job to take over when products move from design to production. As you might expect, these people usually are going to be found in China. Apple does very little of its manufacturing. Instead, it relies on contract outsourcing companies like Foxconn to do this for them. This removes most of the headache of manufacturing for Apple while keeping production costs as low as possible. There is a significant market advantage to do this approach, and it's one that many other electronic manufacturers are trying to emulate over time. The EPM mafia may sound scary, and they probably are to the suppliers, but their real job is to simply ensure that products are delivered to market in the right way, at the right time, and at the right cost. They may disagree at points, but their guiding principle is to act in the interest of the products at all times. Iteration is key. Like any good design company, the design process at Apple is not over when manufacturing begins. In fact, Apple iterates the design throughout manufacturing. The product is built, it's tested and reviewed, and then the design team improves on it and it's built all over again. These cycles take 4 to 6 weeks at a time and may be run many times over a product's development life cycle. When production is complete, the EPM will take possession of some or all of the test devices and then take them back to Apple's headquarters at Cupertino. This is a very costly approach, but it's the one of the reasons that Apple has a reputation for quality. The more you invest in design, the more likely you are to build an incredible market changing product. It's the process that the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad went through. The packaging room. This is a very highly secure area in Apple, and it's where the prototypes are unboxed. As you might expect, the security is to prevent leaks to the outside world. If you ever do so, a leaked prototype for an Apple product, it won't have come from here. It is more likely to have vanished from the production like in China. A launch plan. The final step in Apple's product development is product launch. When the product is considered to be as good as it can be, it enters an action plan known as the rules of the road. This explains all the responsibilities and actions that must be taken prior to a commercial launch of the product. It must be a nerve wracking experience to be privy to the rules of the road. Because if you lose it or leak it, you're immediately fired. This is explained in the document itself. So, if we have to do a quick review, we would say that Apple's process is complex, expensive, and demanding. If you compare it to most business theories, it shouldn't work. However, to date, it has outperformed even the wildest of expectations. You may not be able to emulate all of their processes within the space of your own workspace, but there is no reason that you can't develop a written process for design phase and a launch phase of your own project, for example. And of course, there is no reason at all for you for not iterating. The more you know about successful design processes, the more you take care of the best aspects of them and use them to enhance your own products. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.